get your mind together, then come on across to me.
Tonight on The Experience, we're going to hear a story that is really unimaginable to most of us who are parents. We're going to talk a little bit with a couple of very strong individuals, and we're going to let you know how you can donate to the Zoe Young Cancer Fund, and that's going to be coming up a little bit later on. But we begin with two of our good citizens from here in the city of Worcester in central Massachusetts, representing the Salvation Army, and Major Babbitt, Major Copeland. Thank you both for being here.
Glad to be here.
Let's start first of all, before we talk about the recognition lunch, which is coming up just about a week from now, and we want to talk about who it is that you're going to be recognizing and why you do that each year. Let me begin with you. Two majors. Now, you're both here, both Salvation Army, both in the city of Worcester, but separate. Explain that a little bit.
Well, we actually are one Salvation Army, but kind of two different branches. I'm located on Main Street, and we run the church and social services up there. We have a lot of the social service programs that we operate from there. Anybody
who drives down Main Street, Worcester, is certainly familiar with the building, and you put yourself you're right next to the package store, for example. You're right at that section of the corner that sort of begins Main South. Right. The PIP shelter at one time was only about a block or so away. It clearly puts yourself there for a reason.
Right. We're right downtown, right where we're needed to be. We explored other locations at one time, but really we're right where we need to be.
And so you're really ministering to the people downtown, people who have problems with addiction, for example.
We do see those. Those are more what my colleague sees, but through social services, we are dealing with a lot of that.
You also talked about the services. I think sometimes we forget that you can go to the Salvation Army and go to church service every Sunday.
Yes, yeah, the Salvation Army is a church, and that's why we do what we do, for our love of God. A lot of people only know us as a social service agencies, but really we're a church, and that's why we do the things we do.
Major Copeland, so tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
We have a rehab center for men and women struggling to get their lives put together. About 99.9% of them, drugs and alcohol are part of the problem. It's a 6-month residential program. We provide food, clothing, shelter at no cost to the person. And in order to be able to run that rehab, then we run the stores and the trucks, and that's what funds it. But again, the foundation, as Major Babbitt said, is our faith in God. That's the foundation of the program. We have worship services, we have counseling, we have classes, and we have something called work therapy, where it tries to get people job ready. You know, some people at one time held jobs pretty well, but then through their lifestyle have lost their work ethic. Others got caught up in it so early that they've never even held a job.
You're on Cambridge Street, and it's a large facility, and again, I think that a lot of people have gone by. They may not give a thought as to what is happening inside there, but bring us to a little bit more about this work therapy. So when I drop off, for example, if I decide that I'm going to make a donation, I'm going to drop off my clothes or something, then is that part of the work therapy? When those go to the Cambridge Street location, there's somebody there who is now going to kind of sort those or put those out?
Yes, what we do is we assign each of the people in the program, whom we call beneficiaries, to a work therapy assignment. Now, it could be in the warehouse, it could be assisting on a truck, could be helping out in the kitchen, any number of things. But when the clothing and other items are donated, then they're processed with employee supervisors, a few employees, and the rest are beneficiaries in the program who are learning how to prepare to get a job.
In kind of restoring dignity, I would think, just by being able to work, even if it's a menial task, but that ability to work and contribute.
Very much so. We think it's important that while they take time to deal with the issues and problems they're dealing with, that they also have time to be able to say, I accomplished something today. It may not have been my favorite thing to do, but I did accomplish something today.
I'm also struck, as I was saying to you, Major Babbitt, you know, we kind of go by, I mean, I drive by your facility probably, 3-4 times a day. Don't always think about what's going on inside. The same thing where somebody comes and they buy some records or they buy a sports coat or something and they think, oh, this is going to be great, it's going to be retro, or I'm going to get it at a bargain price. I don't know that we always think about where that money is going or how it is helping or how much is actually going on in a part of the building that we don't see.
Yeah. It is important that, because in addition to raising the money, it also does provide the work therapy. We employ people to work in our stores. We employ people, trucks, and people are able to buy quality items at a very affordable price. And also we use local businesses to do a lot of our work.
Yeah. All right, coming up straight ahead, Majors, I'm going to ask you about this recognition luncheon, what it is for, who it is that you're going to be recognized, and how maybe we can, all be part of it, or we can maybe recognize some of these people as well in the contributions that they're making. And that's on the way on the Hank Stoltz Experience.
We are volunteers of America, volunteers of America, volunteers of America, volunteers of America.
Everybody should have gutter shell on their house. Gutter Shell in 2003 reinvented the wheel and came out with a double drop system, guaranteed never to overshoot, no matter how hard it rains or how steep your roof is.
With the gutter cover like Gutter Shell, your house is going to be protected 100% of the time. We put it right on top and it creates a cantilevered effect, so the weight is spread evenly on the gutter.
Call today, mention Charter TV3 and receive $350 off.
I'm Tom O'Donnell, Chief of Police for the town of West Brookfield, with an important safety message. This time of year, thousands of high school students are going to proms. Parents and teenagers both have a responsibility. Parents, talk to your teenagers about the expectations and limitations. Teenagers, the prom is a rite of passage. Listen to your parents and have a prom night that is fun, memorable, and safe. This safe driving message is brought to you by the Central Massachusetts Chiefs of Police Association and Charter Communications.
Hi, I'm Dale LePage, host of WooTube, Charter TV3's newest television show. Be sure to tune in every week for WooTube on Charter TV3. It's your music videos and your comedy videos. It's all about you. WooTube on Charter TV3.
Presented by Fallon Community Health Plan.
Dudes, what would happen if this guy played a bully and this one played the new kid? Bullying is unpredictable, and depending on how you react, you never know what kind of result you'll get.
New kids should just calmly walk away, find an adult or teacher, and speak up. Tell them what's going on.
Bullying? Not cool. Together, we can all stop bullying. Speak up.
Go to stopbullying.speakup.com to find out more.
Brought to you locally by Charter Communications and the law offices of Joseph J. Cariglia, standing up for kids. The Senior Focus on Charter TV3 is hosted by attorney Nick Kalsas, a leading Massachusetts authority on elder law and related legal issues. The Senior Focus is devoted to the needs of older and disabled individuals, their caregivers, and their families. Topics include estate and Medicaid planning, long-term care planning, estate administration, planning for people with disabilities, and more. Watch The Senior Focus every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Charter TV3.
Major Babbitt, Major Copeland with us, and we're talking about the great work that the Salvation Army does right here in our community, and also about a recognition luncheon that is coming up next Tuesday. Major Babbitt, tell us a little bit about this recognition luncheon and why the Army has it.
Well, it's an opportunity for us to recognize the people who are behind the scenes, who help us to do what we do. They don't do it for recognition, but it's every once in a while it's nice for somebody to say, oh yeah, they help us a lot, and they do. We're recognizing some of our major donors, some of our partners that work with us, some of the store locations that we have during Christmas kettles, as well as a number of people that work with the the Rehabilitation Center.
Well, very interesting. Let me talk a little bit then about the donors and just how important that is, or even in this day and age, the stores that still allow the Army to have the kettles outside, because that number seems to be going down. I mean, they were everywhere at one time, and now they don't seem to be.
Right, and so we really appreciate those locations that do allow us to ring the bell at Christmas time. It is so important to our Red Kettle effort. But we also our major donors, the ones that send us the money to help keep our programs going.
Really recognize that. Tell me a little bit more, Major Babbitt, because we didn't have as much time to get into it a moment ago, about some of those programs that they are funding, that are happening, particularly on the Main Street location.
Well, we have a foundation, the Remillard Foundation, that has given us a large gift to keep some of our youth programs going. We have an after-school program that we run. We also have a teen intervention program called Bridging the Gap that works with children 12 to 18 years old, usually first-time non-violent offenders, and we teach them life skills, and hopefully they never become second-time offenders. We also do so many things. We have the food pantry, we have the day homeless drop-in center, Sally's Place, and coming up again for the third year in a row, we're going to be doing the bag lunches during the summer. A lot of children receive free lunch during the school year, and then during the summer they don't have that, and so we go around to a number of sites around the city handing out bag lunches.
Wow, isn't that something? Because those kids really would literally go hungry during the summer months, or maybe just get one meal out of the day. Do you find, that there are other agencies? Do you overlap, or how do you make sure that you're sort of working hand in hand with some of the other agencies?
Well, we do collaborate with a number of other agencies. There's not much duplication. Really, the need is so great that there could probably be others doing the same thing and still not have overlapping. The need today is greater than ever.
Yeah. Major Copeland, some of those who are going to be recognized coming up on Tuesday?
Well, one thing is we try to work together, and we think that's really important. And one of the people we're going to be recognizing is a graduate of the ARC, the Adult Rehab Center, who now is a church member and an employee at the Main Street location working with the kids. Now, that's just a great story. Yeah. Other people we want to recognize is a number of colleges who do a reuse, recycle campaign at the end of the school year. We also want to recognize some of our advisory council members who have just done so much to help us. I say that they make me look smart, and that's not an easy thing to do. and so we want to recognize some of them as well.
Yeah, I mean, just that first thing that you said, though, about the fact that you have somebody who has gone through the program successfully and is now, working and helping others, that's so important. Boy, that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Do you find that one thing that must happen quite a bit is that you really must kind of have the patience, and this is where I think maybe the fact that it's faith-based with the Salvation Army comes in, this patience that it's all right if it doesn't take the first time, or if somebody comes back or has to come back more than 2 or 3 times.
We have to remember that God doesn't give up on people.
Amen.
Now, sometimes it reaches a point where we say, maybe you need to hear the same message from different voice. But we try to remember that people who come to us, people who come to Major Babbitt, many are hurting, been abused, or just grown up in bad situations, and that it's going to take a while to heal. That healing doesn't happen overnight. Forgiveness happens overnight, but healing doesn't.
It strikes me, though, and particularly maybe with you, Major Copeland, and the programs that you deal with, that although there has to be the great compassion, you must have to be a pragmatist as well. I mean, you can't, I'm sure that there aren't too many who successfully pull the wool over your eyes.
Well, I give the credit to our staff. First of all, my wife, Major Carol Copeland, runs the program day to day, and she has 36 years sobriety. We've got a very good staff. We have counselors who have a faith in Jesus Christ and lots of training and experience and education in the addiction field. Sometimes people will pull the wool over our eyes, but you know, we have to try to remember it's not personal. That they're using a survival skill that they've developed. Now, it's not acceptable, but we try not to take it personal.
Yeah. Yeah. Major Babbitt, it seems as if also, and from what Major Copeland was saying, do a lot of people who come and then work with the Army, are they people who that the Army, I mean, how common is that they're people that the Army has helped?
Well, lots of time we get people who the Army has helped who come back and volunteer, who become donors. It's not that rare. We don't see as many employees as the center does. We don't have such a large staff, but it really is great when we can work with somebody.
I was just going
like
to say,
that,
I mean, you know, in Major Copeland, I mean, to hear from somebody who has been through what you're going through, and to kind of have their guidance and say, okay, you know, one day I can be where that person is. It's got to just be terrific.
Yeah, and one of the things that happens is when people graduate, if we have an opening and they have any skills at all in that opening, we try to give them a chance. So we have a number of people who work for us. And the other thing we've done is, and again, I give my wife credit for this, an alumni group, usually 15, 20 per week. Now, that's not the same people, and there's a lot of people who moved away, who get together, and sometimes it's for support, sometimes it's to learn skills, and sometimes it's just to fellowship.
Exactly. Boy, that's great. Major Copeland, Major Babbitt, thank you both so much for coming by.
Well,
appreciate it.
having us.
Right here on the Hank Stoltz Experience. Much more to come.
Tired of weather reports that don't focus on Central Mass? Introducing Worcester Weather, the only video weather report for Worcester. Worcester Weather is easily accessible 24/7 by visiting chartertv3.com. It is updated throughout the day to give you the best video forecast possible. Worcester Weather also airs at 5 p.m. during the Jordan Levy Show and every Worcester News Tonight telecast. Worcester Weather gives you the local forecast you have always wanted. Worcester Weather on Charter TV3 and chartertv3.com. Brought to you by Berterra Nissan of Auburn.
Charter On Demand presents How to Turn Your Home into a Movie Theater. Find your Charter remote and pick it up. Locate Channel 1 and get thumb ready for action. Press Channel 1 while carefully clutching a bowl of popcorn. Select a category and start enjoying top movies whenever you want on Charter On Demand, many the same day they're released on DVD. Check out this month's newest on-demand choices. Repeat frequently for full entertainment effect. Go to Channel 1 and find your favorite flicks on demand.
Consider donating new or gently used books at sites around Worcester for the 6th annual Worcester, the City That Reads book drive. The committee hopes to collect 26,000 books this year, with the goal to provide summer reading material to children who may not otherwise have access to books. The books for children in pre-kindergarten through grade 8 are being accepted at this time. Donations are accepted at the following locations, and book collections are also being held by Worcester Public High Schools, Worcester colleges and universities, private schools, and organizations.
Everybody should have gutter shell on their house. Gutter shell in 2003 reinvented the wheel and came out with a double drop system, guaranteed never to overshoot, no matter how hard it rains or how steep your roof is.
With the gutter cover like gutter shell, your house is going to be protected 100% of the time. We put it right on top, and it creates a cantilevered effect, so the weight is spread evenly on the gutter.
Call today, mention Charter TV3, and receive $350 off.
A way tonight in which we are able to make a difference And Laura's here, Zeppo's here. Thank you both so much for coming by tonight.
Thank you
And for sharing your story with us. And Laura, let's go back to when you first had Zoe, and more than maybe a little mother's intuition that there was something wrong. And that was, did you have that as a feeling right from the start?
Yeah, well, Zoe was always a very colicky baby, but right before Christmas, her colic seemed to change, and she had some signs that something else was wrong. So the day after Christmas, I brought her to a local Harrington hospital, and they took an x-ray and immediately saw that they couldn't handle her situation, and we were rushed up to UMass Memorial, where we got the original general diagnosis that she had a tumor.
Yeah.
And then from there we were brought over to Children's Hospital in Boston.
Zeppo, day after Christmas, I mean, it must have just been, hit you like a ton of bricks when you got that. And I think guys are a little different than women. I think guys are generally, the baby's crying, babies cry.
Well, that's. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, that's what I thought. See, my perspective about the situation was different because she had colic, she cried a lot. That's what babies do. Babies cry. And a few days before Christmas, I had taken her for a drive. I called it my midnight drives to help her go to sleep, allow Laura some time to sleep, and the drive didn't do anything. She cried and wailed through the whole trip and was completely inconsolable. And
that's when you were thinking maybe that there's something a little unusual about
Yeah.
that, more than just a colicky baby. Laura, when you you decided to wait until the day after Christmas, I'm sure just because of the holidays and everything. I mean, was that part of it?
That was part of it. I think also part of it was just, you know, when you think you have a baby with colic, you say, oh, well, today's a little better, or tomorrow's a little worse, maybe it will be better tomorrow. So it was just a matter of trying to figure out, is this just something that will pass?
Even if you thought that there was something, or even as I said, your kind of mom's intuition, boy, this is more than colic, I've got to bring him to the hospital. Still, the doctor saying tumor had to just, I mean, that really had to be out of the blue. I mean, even in your worst imagination, you probably weren't thinking that.
Yeah. Sure, it hits you like a ton of bricks. It's the least expected answer for a baby that's, you know, has slight distension in its belly and who's crying. Like you think, well, at most maybe it's a bowel obstruction or maybe it's something like that, but to hear cancer or tumor is just, it like lays you out.
Yeah, sure. So Zeppo, now you're on your way down to Children's Hospital. All these different things are going through your mind. What did they tell you there? I mean, when did you find out that this was not only unusual, that it was cancer, but it was a very unusual, very rare form of cancer?
Well, Laura and her mother took Zoe into the hospital, and I thought they were going to go and they'd say, well, she has colic. This is normal. This is to be expected. And I kind of expected the hospital to laugh it off. So I went to her parents' house to help my brother-in-law split some firewood, and I got the phone call that they were at UMass Memorial, and they thought that there was an obstruction in her colon. And I said, okay, well, just keep me informed. I mean, cancer never sprung to mind. And I said, just keep me informed. And then Laura called me really upset, and she said, I need you here. They think it may be a tumor. And so I raced to UMass Memorial, and I mean, it was a blur. I didn't.
Yeah, we got the diagnosis, the actual diagnosis that she had a malignant rhabdoid tumor on the 29th of December, and it took several days for them to come to figure out that that's what it was, because the cancer is so rare. The pathologist took extra long time in determining what it was.
What was life like with Zoe? I mean, then, you know, when you find out that you're probably going to have just a smaller amount of time, I mean, it puts everything in focus, I'm sure.
Well, I think that Zeppo and I made a conscious choice to live every day like she didn't have a limited amount of time. Everyone has a choice in life to either curl up in a ball and, you know, let your life go to pieces, or you have the choice to do everything you possibly can for your child and live a life as though there is a glorious future. And that's what we did. We chose to live every day full out and love her and give her everything we could possibly give her.
That's fantastic. No, that's fantastic. You're both clearly so very, very strong. Zeppo, tell me a little bit about where the name of the website came from, and we can get a little bit into how people can get involved, because that kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's on the screen beneath you. But
well, I've spoken to a lot of people who are very conservative, and they just say, cancer sucks, and it really does. And that wasn't our first choice when Laura first started to set up the website. We were looking for a name, and sucks wasn't the adjective we wanted to use.
Something even stronger.
Yeah. And so
we came to the determination early on that wanting to use stronger expletives was something we would have loved to have done, and we used to joke that if Zoe ever wanted to use these words when speaking about cancer, it would be perfectly fine. So when I was setting up the website, we settled on Team Zoe, Cancer Sucks.
I think, I think it's great, and I think it really brings a lot of people. Have you now had the chance to be able to talk, and Laura, I'll begin with you, but Zeppo, I'd like your thoughts on this too. Have you had the chance now to really be able to speak to people who, if they haven't gone through exactly what you went through, but they've gone through something similar, or they're going through something similar, and boy, I mean, you don't want to have to keep reliving it. At the same time, clearly, you're able to help a lot of people.
Well, right now, yes, I have actually a very close friend of mine whose daughter went through Wilms, and we're so happy to say that she got a positive. It looks like the cancer is gone for her, but yes, I do have some people that I've spoken with. We have yet to find anyone with this particular diagnosis.
So rare.
Our hope is that in the future, with Children's Hospital, we can work with them and let families, when they do come and find out that their children have this diagnosis, that they can come to us if they choose, and we might be able to offer some help and support. So
Zeppo, you definitely want to have that outreach to people then.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, this really goes back to what you were saying about you choose how you're going to live your life, and you guys aren't going to kind of crawl up into that ball. How has it changed you since then? And then we got just a couple minutes. And I want to get into the bike ride so that we can come out and help too. But I mean, you were living, every day to its fullest. Does that continue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I made a vow to Zoe before she passed that I was going to wake up every day. I was going to say good morning. I was going to take a shower, and I was going to live my life as though I was still her mother, and just because she's not here doesn't mean that she's not with me. And so her future, she still has a glorious future. It's just a different future. And so, yeah, that's
Zeppo, we just have a minute left, but give us all the details about how we can come on out and be part of the Zoe Cancer Fund.
Well, we have Team Zoe has set up a couple different fundraisers. On May 19th at Taunton Lanes, there's going to be a fundraiser bowling. Taunton Lanes has donated their alley to our cause to raise money for the foundation. And next month, June 2nd, there's going to be a motorcycle ride, a balloon launch, and a roast beef dinner at the Singletary Rod and Gun Club in honor of Zoe.
Great ways for us to be able to come out and contribute, and you've made it easy for us. Thank you so much for coming by tonight and sharing this this story and ways in which we can get involved and help as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, thank you for watching right here on the Hank Stoltz Experience.
And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that